Hey y'all, Mecca here. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. We're gonna get right into what I want to get into. Um, any information that you need to know about me will be in the description box. Okay. So I had just got done filming a 30-minute reading, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it back, and Spirit is like, "Ma'am, let me adjust that. That is not what we told you to do, right?" And one thing that I've been really into lately is carving out my lane, what my lane looks like, and understanding that everybody don't do things the same, and it's not everybody ministry to do things the same. And so as I sat there and watched the reading, I was just like, this ain't it. It ain't it. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be somewhat of, do I want to call it a reading? Let's call it like a reading and a story time, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick three cards, and I am going to give you a story time or an example of said whatever the cards say. Okay, I hope that makes sense. You'll understand when we get into it, right? Spirit, please give me three cards. What cards do you have for the collective? Please keep in mind that this is a general reading, and so it may or may not resonate. If it does not, and you want a reading that is more catered to you, click the link in my description box. I'm having a 15% off sale until December 31st on all of my readings, okay? Mm, this is real loud already. Okay. So, the cards that we have. This is so loud. Why is Spirit scalping me like this? We have the Seven of Swords. Also, this is going to be the January reading in case I didn't say that. We have the Moon, and we have the Two of Wands. Okay, so what this is giving me is, my hair is so just in the way of everything. What this is giving to me is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage based on fear, based on anticipation, maybe over a decision that you have to make and you don't know how this decision is going to turn out. And so, story time about how I have self sabotaged myself before, and I hope that you can get something from this. I'm going to see if this works. If you guys like this, we can keep it going. If not, we can go back to the regular reading. But anyway, so a lot of people like to look at the Seven of Swords as a card of, like, trickster energy, dishonesty, betrayal, things of that nature. And it could be all of those things, don't get me wrong. But a lot of, let me say this. One thing that I feel like people forget sometimes, like they tend to forget about, is tarot in itself is what we like to call the fool's journey or the hero's journey, right? And all of these archetypes are a journey through the life of someone, right? All of the things that we may encounter on this journey. And they're all just different aspects of self, right? And as I'm looking at the Seven of Swords card, with that being the situation, with these things being representative of, um, it can be representative of outside energies, of course, but I like to use tarot as something for me. I'm not too concerned about outside influences. What am I doing, right? And so as I'm looking at the Seven of Swords, it's making me think of self sabotage. And it's making me think of all of the times that I have sabotaged myself before I can even get started on doing the thing that I wanted to do, right? And a lot of that came out of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what this is going to look like, what it's going to feel like, just riddled with fear, okay? I'm a very anxious person. I am a very, I'm a Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn, and I need to know details. I need to know the when, the where, the how. How do I need to dress? Are there going to be snacks? Are we stopping a lot? Like, I need to know all the details. And so when I don't have those details, it makes me very, very, very anxious. And what story can I use? Because there's so many. Um, Mm, let me think. We be back. Perfect example. Okay, so not only do I feel like this reading is, excuse hubby's sneakers in the back, that man got more sneakers than he know what to do with. But anyway, um, it makes me think about not only self sabotage, but the ways in which we lie to ourselves, in which we, or how we tell untruths to ourselves, right? And it makes me think about my second book. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I am a self published author. I have two books out, Foolish and Foolish 2, shameless plug. There is a third book on the way in January, so all that's going to be down there in case you like to indulge. But I remember the high that I was on when I released the first book, because when I released, well, even before I released it, when I was writing the first book, I was like, ooh, this is about to change the game. Ain't nobody write a book like this. I'm Gucci, right? Put out the first book, and it didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I stopped talking about it for a really long time. And people would ask me once they found out that I wrote a book, they would ask me like, girl, why are you not talking about this book? You feel me? Like, why have you created something so dope and you, nobody knows about it because you're not talking about it, right? And this was way before also I knew a lot about social media marketing and all of those things. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna write the book, publish it, and put it out, and that's the end of my job, right? So I was doing no marketing for it, no nothing. It was just kind of sitting there on the shelf. And I remember once I started talking about it, the response that I got, right? I haven't, and this is no cocky, okay? So unbiased. I need y'all to know. I have not heard one person say that they have not liked this book, right? And so when the subject of me writing a second book came up, I was on the fence about it because I'm like, I look at writing a second book, especially a book within a series, because my books are going to be a complete series. It's almost like an artist putting out their first album, right? And that freshman album doing like their debut album doing amazing, right? And everybody falls in love with it, and it's just like it's everything. And people are naturally going to anticipate your follow up album, your sophomore album, right? And a lot of times, I hear a lot of artists talk about how they feel the need to have to go above and beyond to top that first album, right? Because you can either top it or you can fall off, right? And that's how I felt about the second book. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this because I don't, first off, even though I left the first book off on one hell of a cliffhanger, I never anticipated writing a second book. And so I was like, I don't know if people want a second book. I don't know how I would even go about like continuing the story. Am I capable of continuing the story? And it was just a lot of self sabotage. I did a lot of things that self sabotage me actually doing the work to write this book and put this book out. Like, example, I was so self conscious about how I was writing the book, and I wanted to make sure that it was either going to top or be equally as engaging as the first book, that I scrapped my first three manuscripts. The first three manuscripts of Foolish 2, the first manuscript, I was writing it with my brothers, and life happened and that didn't work out. And I had to come to a realization that I'm not supposed to be writing this book with other people. It's supposed to be me. Um, and then I, with that knowledge, started writing the second manuscript. Did not like it. Did not like the direction it was going in. And because of a lot of sitting at the altar, I came to the conclusion that this second book was supposed to be ancestral. It was supposed to focus on the ancestors, right? And so, because of that, scrapped the second manuscript. It wasn't until I got to the third manuscript where I was like, you're self sabotaging. You sit here and you say that you don't want to put out this book when you really do. And you're not being honest with yourself about how What you're really scared of is how it's going to be received. Because it was never one of those things where I ever doubted my work. I know I'm an amazing writer. I know that I have an amazing talent. So it's never been about that. Like, ain't nobody ever gonna try me on that. But it's, as a creator, as an artist, it's just kind of like, you don't, even though it's something that you feel like is dope and something that you hold close to your chest, that doesn't mean it's going to be received or recognized by other people in that way. So that was my fear, and that fear caused me to self-sabotage instead of discovering more about myself through writing that book, which is what happened, right? And so I say that to say, for January, look at the ways in which you have been self-sabotaging. Look at the ways you have been telling untruths to yourself. Because my untruth was, I'm gonna put this book out and ain't nobody gonna read it, which, as we can clearly see, is not the case. Okay. My what do you call it? My I can't think of the word right now. Not the reviews, analytics. My analytics say otherwise. Okay. And so that was the untruth that I was telling myself that created the self-sabotage, based on the fear that nobody was going to receive this book, that nobody was going to like it. And what I could have been doing instead was, I could have been realizing all of the ways that writing that book was like a discovery for me, right? Like, literally, the world, in this card, the world is in their hands, right? You don't know until you know, and you won't know until you do, right? So don't self-sabotage this year coming up, especially in January. Don't stop. Whatever you just like, let January be the month of discovery as you are going over 2022, as you are, yes, as you are closing out the cycles of 2022, as you are looking back and seeing how your year went and how you want this upcoming years to be different. Allow there to be room for discovery. Who you be, okay? What you like to do. What is it that you want to work on this year? And how can you work on it differently? Who are you now versus who were you last year, right? That's why I hate when people be like, new year, new me. Yeah, new year, new me. That's allowed, right? I'm allowed to change. I'm allowed to be a new person. I'm allowed to want to be a new person. See, I can. The three cards that came out to clarify are the Ace of Swords. We have the Four of Pentacles. And we have the Ten of Cups. Y'all, one thing that I have learned is, when you are afraid, when you are scared, when you are anxious, you are not seeing clearly, right? And this is why I am saying to you, for the month of January, be in a open, fluid type of energy, because you never know what you're going to find out about yourself if you don't leave the space for that. You feel me? Like, if you are so tense and so afraid of what's coming next, you will never be able to see the possibility. You'll never be able to see this world in the palm of your hands, right? That takes clarity. It takes being able to look at things objectively from different viewpoints and from different sides of different coins, right? But that clarity is going to be important, because I feel like for a lot of us, we are going to be realizing how we needed to be in control, or felt like we needed to be in control. It's given like, if I don't do it, it ain't gonna get done. Or if it don't go this way, then it's not gonna be right. And that is not always the situation, y'all. It's just not. It's not always the situation. There is a fear of change here with this Four of Pentacles that is blocking the Ten of Cups that you want, right? So if you're saying that you want this contentment of the Ten of Cups, if you want the togetherness and the emotional aptitude of the Ten of Cups, then you're going to have to quite literally let go and let whatever your higher power is. I'm going to say God, right? Let go and let God. Do what you can do, right? Discover new things about yourself, but stop lying to yourself about the reason why you're not where you want to be. Stop lying to yourself and stop blaming it on everything and everybody else when it's your fear. It's your fear, and that's not to say that your fear is not valid. That's not what I'm saying at all. But step back and take a look at your experiences. I talked a lot about that in the reading that y'all will never see the light of day. I talked a lot about how our experiences shapes and forms our perception, right? The way that we view things, the fears that we acquire along the way are formed by our experiences. But the good thing about an experience is once you experience it, you don't have to experience it again. You can choose to do something different. And I know me, like for me, a lot of the fears and the anxiety I have is like because I've been through certain things and I don't want to go through those things again. But instead of focusing on how I can recreate and how I can rediscover, I spent a lot of time focusing and almost obsessing over what I didn't want to happen. Right? When you can equally take that energy and put that energy into what you want. You can take that energy into recreating yourself, into recreating experiences, right? I'm going to get an oracle card. Okay? But yeah, in January, y'all, like, a lot of the readings that I have been doing have been talking so much about, like, being honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you ain't honest with nobody else, it pays to be honest with yourself. Because you can fake the funk, right? You can fake the funk, but the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the outcome. The outcome is always going to tell you how much was put into said experience, said situation, your life. You know what I'm saying? To get to the conclusion, excuse me, that you gotten to. Did you put in the work? Did you work on self? Were you honest with self? I believe at the end of the last reading, the oracle cards that came out were death, transformation, and new life. In order for you to move into the spaces that you want to be in, this Ten of Cups energy, there are going to be some things that you are going to have to kill within yourself, right? Can't make this up. We have knowledge. We're going to read about knowledge. It says, remain teachable. There is new wisdom available to you at this time, and this card can signify getting more information before proceeding. It can also signify the presence of an important teacher, or perhaps you are the teacher and it is time to share your knowledge and gifts with the world around you. Drawing this card can also indicate a message from your Akashic records. Seek out more information about the records, or even perhaps learn how to access your own records for more clarity regarding your question. Meditate on this to learn new things or to draw the right teachers into your life. Books are forever keepers of secrets and knowledge, documenting fact, fiction, and all in between, right? What have you learned? And like, it's so funny that that is like the ending of this reading, because I ask my clients that I do readings for that all the time. So what have you learned? How are we to proceed? What are the plans? Now that you know what you know, now that you have the wisdom, right? Knowledge and wisdom bring forth understanding. Understanding is the highest form of love, y'all. How much you loving on yourself? How much are you allowing your knowledge and your wisdom to bring forth the understanding of you? How is that? How is that working out for you? The proof is in the pudding. In January, you get a clear understanding so you can move forward gracefully. The world is literally in the palm of your hands. It's up to you. I hope that this reading helps y'all. Again, if you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so by clicking the link down below. And getting you a thing. Okay? I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend because I'll be uploading this today on Friday. So have a great weekend. Be great. Get bread. Stay all the way live. And with everything, be intentional. Peace.